It's a video for Backwoods and the Circle. Backwoods is on fire. Man, I can't remember in the podcast which one where we were talking about the Ukraine. I know we were talking about Russia. The funniest thing is when the Ukraine thing first kicked off, my buddy, he is so elusive and funny about things. He's like, I think it's all bullshit. I'm like, what? He's like, how do you know there's really something going on over there? He makes you think like that. Like, how do I know that there's really something going on over there? Because the little squiggly screen in front of me is telling me so. because somebody on the radio through the little speakers is telling me so. Now, granted, there are some United States people that have gone there to volunteer for the Foreign Legion. But it's strange, and maybe I'd like to have Sned's take on this, although England not being part of the European Union anymore, or is it still? It'd be interesting to hear what his take is on it versus, the European Union wanting to expand into the Ukraine. You got underlying government corruption, and then you have, from reports, from what I can see, an absolute inept, there's no other word for it but inept, attempt at an invasion. I know it seems like I'm always dick riding General Mattis. They tried to take a page from his book with maneuver warfare, outran their own supply chain. Similar to what happened to us in 2004. We went pretty far and hard, and the supply chain was like hanging out in the back, and it stalled a few times. And in the book Generation Kill, it actually talks about it, and Mattis ends up relieving one of his division commanders for not being able to perform and keep the logistics up, like the fuel trucks up with the armor and everything. I don't remember the exact details, but I would say my understanding is, so now I'm comparing our invasion of Iraq to Russia's invasion of Ukraine for a moment here, so just hear me out. And listen, I don't know fuck about shit, okay? So take it with a grain of salt. We're just talking here. There's this nerd guy on YouTube that talks about how to bust Russian tanks, and apparently he's former Army. He seems to know some shit that he's talking about. But a person who's a retired E6 may know how to destroy a tank, but logistics, I don't know what all else he's got. He did a really cool video. This is an aside. He did a really cool video on why when a Russian tank, a Russian T-34 is hit with an anti-tank missile, it explodes so dramatically. And I'll spoiler alert it for you. It has to do with where they store their ammunition. Like you hit it right in that turret skirt, and it just blows its top. Pretty impressive. But with this conflict, I see they're making the classic blunder, as the movie Princess Bride says. The first is never get into a land war with China. The second is never engage in an invasion without a specific goal in mind. It's a different world over there. It's like a macho thing where it's about power. And in my opinion, and again, I don't know shit about nothing, Putin's kind of a Russian's Russian. you know? He's like the bad guy Russian in that movie The Saint, you know? We will make a Russia not cut off at the knees, but armed to the teeth. It's gonna be strong Russian bear. The only thing I know for sure is that some of the most beautiful people in the world are Ukrainian women. And I also know that Ukraine is one of those countries that it's like when people say hospital or university for whatever reason, and we're talking so much pronouns, I guess we're having a grammar lesson these days. I don't understand why people are now able to say, I'm going to hospital, I'm going to university. When do we stop putting the in front of words? Like, I'm going to the hospital, I'm going to the university, or I'm going to the Ukraine. It's not, I'm going to Ukraine. Like, it makes you say an accent. And I think that's how they're getting us. They're going to make us start talking their way, and make big trouble for moose and squirrel. That's your country, buddy. That's your territory. The moose and squirrel country. And the only thing I could think of was Zelensky making you a video response from his bunker. It's an interesting case study in social media warfare. Zelensky's a good looking dude. No homo. Maybe a little homo. On my part, not his. I don't know what he does. Because he's probably just a short little thing. They got nutrition issues over there. I bet he's like that. He's some of that Tom Cruise 5'6". Just put him in your pocket. Take him to work with you. But the dude is literally a paid actor. Ring any bells? We hired a paid actor to be president in 2016. Is a paid actor the same thing as a game show host? Hey, that's School Bus. Any old way. I don't know. Good looking out. Frankly, I think these are some pretty wild times. And it's like nothing we've ever seen before. Of course, that's what we always say. I know, say in the Spanish-American War, by the way, kudos to anybody that's still this deep into the video. But if you look at the Spanish-American War, I want to say it was one of the first conflicts that involved the newspapers. So media became involved. So the early 19th century was the advent of media coverage in warfare. And it made it worse. It spurred on conflict, and people at home were getting this salacious dopamine hit. And Shafe, you're on track here, but it extends beyond social media, is what I'm trying to say. And what matters is the public. Let me give you an example. Obama wanted to invade Libya wholesale with the United States military. And it was absolutely opposed. People saw through the BS on it. Absolutely saw through the BS. People wrote their congressman. People made videos on YouTube. And he literally got opposed. He couldn't go in. And I don't know if the Benghazi thing was an attempt to get not to sound paranoid, but I don't know if the Benghazi thing was an attempt to be like, remember the 12, and they would be martyrs. But unfortunately, 3 former Navy SEALs, a former Army Ranger, and a former United States Marine had a little something to say about it, plus some Delta Force guys. Ay caramba. Never underestimate the power of Jumbo. That's all I'm going to say as far as Benghazi goes. But where it's getting rough And this is what Trump is good at, I think. Example is when he visited North Korea to talk to him face to face. What the average population thinks and what happens as a dopamine hit versus mama not wanting to send her baby off to a meat grinder versus the Cuban Missile Crisis, where it took two national leaders talking to each other directly to say, oh, wait, what are we really talking about here? What are we really proposing? That's the thing that scares me about a Democrat in office. They saber rattle so bad, and they don't know what the hell to do with it. They don't realize what it's for. Just like where I was talking about with the gun control, the shit that goes through a liberal's mind when it comes to a gun. Like, oh, if I had a gun in my hand, I would have blown him away. Like, who the fuck? What kind of psychopath thinks that way? That makes you a psychopath, I think. It definitely makes you a not good person. Not that I'm better than them, but ask around. I think that I'm better than everybody else. So I can actually look at a gun and not even think about what it is. I understand its capabilities, same as I would a fucking kitchen knife. And I don't think Democratic leaders are all that qualified to be commanders of the United States military. Now, that being said, I don't think much of Republicans being commanders in the United States military, but I will say they seem to be less likely to leave my friends and family hanging out to dry overseas. Golly, that was so scary when Obama was elected. That person that you heard on my podcast there, he was working overseas at that time, and I'm like, man, shit. Just be careful. I'm like, I don't know shit about shit, but how far away are you from the embassy? You know, like, all I could think of was, how they're willing to just shut off communication. Now, maybe that's all in my mind, and I'm getting it from a Tom Clancy movie, Clear and Present Danger. Whenever things go bad, they just throw their hands up in the air like, what people? Yeah, there's people. And you know what? If you want to talk about assets, you guys have any idea how much money it costs to train a Green Beret? Any clue? How about an Army Ranger? The investment in personnel, and not even just talking about how special those people are from an intelligence standpoint. Their intelligence, the money and training, because there's no comprehension, no fiscal comprehension. And I'm talking not just economic, okay? I'm talking as a human being. It's a nightmare. It's a potential nightmare. And it's something I believe we still haven't recovered from World War I, where the best and brightest were the first to die. The world misses them. I got no point here, but I don't know, the China thing behind enemy lines. Okay, I'm going to go there because we're already this deep. I'm going long here. So I had this crazy theory that Chinese restaurants in America are actual cells of Chinese special forces, and when the balloon went up, they were all going to attack. Now, what's ironic is that Chinese spy balloon that's been in the news. That's all I'm going to say. All right, backwoods. Good looking out. And in case you guys are wondering about all the traffic noise on the side, yeah, I'm currently homeless. So send $30 to George for Titles PayPal. Okay, guys? Okay. All right. This has been the Southern Paladin, brought to you from a cardboard box near the interstate in Tampa. Catch y'all later.